Paul George headlined a busy summer of offseason moves where we also saw DeJounte Murray getting traded to the Pelicans, the Bulls moving DeMar DeRozan to the Kings, and Alex Caruso being dealt to the Thunder. And as a part of the first six-team trade in NBA history, Klay Thompson joined the Mavs. But of course, the summer isn't only trade season. It's also time for players to tell teams to give me my money. And there are plenty of extensions still in questions. If you guys don't know those TikToks, I'm sorry, get on TikTok. Starting with Julius Randle, who this weekend became eligible for a 4-year, $181.5 million extension from the Knicks. Randle will have a player option next summer if no deal is reached. Tim, do you think that New York needs to lock him up right now?
Not necessarily, and the one thing I would caution people on is assuming that he's going to take a significant discount just because Jalen Brunson took a significant discount. Two separate negotiations, just like Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, were separate negotiations.
That's a good point.
All right, and then there is Jamal Murray. He has struggled for Team Canada at the Olympics during a summer in which he's also extension eligible. With no deal, he would become an unrestricted free agent next offseason. Ramona, are you reading into the fact that we haven't had pen to paper just yet?
You know, everyone involved said they expect this to happen after the Olympics. They sort of put negotiations on the back burner until he got done with Team Canada. And the only reason for him to wait is if he wants to see if he can get more money by making an All-NBA team. But I think with his injury history and frankly with Denver's financial issues, it makes sense for both sides to get this done now at this number.
Does it make sense for the Nuggets? Not based on what I've seen from Jamal Murray during the Olympics and even going back to
I remember him making those shots in the playoffs though, Tim.
Tomorrow is a big day for Lauri Markkanen as he'll become eligible to have his contract renegotiated and extended. We all know the Warriors have been sniffing around Lauri. How do you see this all playing out, Tim?
Tomorrow will not be the big day. Lauri Markkanen is not going to sign his extension on August 6th. He will wait. Maybe it's the 7th, 8th night. It will get signed.
Yeah.
But on August 6th, that would mean he could be traded at the deadline. If it's August 7th or later, he can't.
It guarantees.
And he will give himself the equivalent of a 1-year no-trade exception.
You know, I think that's more interesting for the Warriors side of things because a lot of teams wanted Lauri Markkanen, right? The Warriors were probably the hottest in pursuit of Lauri Markkanen, but they have been restrained. They've been disciplined in what they've been willing to put into this offer here. Utah just wants everything, right? If they want everything and the Warriors were desperate to make a move or do something here, that deal would have gotten done. But I think the Warriors have been restrained. I think they save their powder for later in the year. And as you say, I think Lauri Markkanen stays in Utah for this entire year.
Yeah, and the Jazz don't want to trade Markkanen. Right. He is not, quote unquote, on the market. They are not shopping him.
They're listening.
They're willing to listen, but boy, it's like, hey, my house isn't on the market, but if you want to pay me twice the market value, I'll find another place to live.
Yeah.
But there's been nothing remotely close from the Warriors or anybody else, and the message the Jazz are giving Markkanen is, we want you, we're not trying to move you. And because of that, they're not going to push it.
He also wants to be there. Like, he
wants to be there,
Yeah, he likes being in Utah. He likes having an organization that bet on him and developed him. He has a good relationship with Will Hardy. I think this has worked out the way it's supposed to have worked out for him.
Yeah, as you mentioned, he wants to be there. It would have to be, of course, an offer that the Jazz absolutely want in order to move him.
They also got a lot of information from every other team who called, and they find out who's available.
Right, exactly. Let's take a look at some other extension-eligible players this offseason. We got Brandon Ingram, Joel Embiid, and Jimmy Butler, who are also eligible for multi-year extensions, while Steph and KD can tack one more season at the end of their current deals that both have 2 seasons left on them.
Ramona, think about that $62.6 million. Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the Embiid contract will get done eventually this offseason. As soon as he gets done with the Olympics, same kind of situation as Jamal. Jimmy Butler gets a little more interesting, and I don't think Brandon Ingram is doing that extension in New Orleans. That's another situation where that his name has been in trade talks all summer long. I know the Sixers had him as sort of a backup plan if they did not get Paul George to sign there as a free agent, but that's a situation where they've been wanting to shake things up, right? They want to build around Zion. They've got DeJounte Murray. If they find a good offer for Ingram, they'll listen, but I don't see that extension happening right now.
No, I think the question with Brandon Ingram is, does he get traded, not does he get extended? He's not getting extended in New Orleans, and I put Brandon Ingram in the same boat as Zach LaVine right now. These are big money stars, not superstars, big money stars who there's not a trade market for. You know, both the Bulls are trying to trade LaVine. The Pelicans have been trying to trade Brandon Ingram. Right now, there's not a market for either. We'll see.
Well, there was a market for Ingram, and I know people mentioned him with the Warriors, but we saw what happened when he was on Team USA with Steve Kerr as the head coach at the World Championships last year. He was the guy out of the rotation, so I think that's important when you look at if the Warriors would be interested in him as a fallback if this marketing stuff doesn't happen.
So, what do you think, Ramona, is the biggest question this offseason?
I mean, to me, it really is about Lauri Markkanen, whether he stays there, because that's the guy that everybody was interested in. If he doesn't move, then we're moving on to it. There's no Dame Lillard out there, Tim. You see a Dame? I don't see anybody big at this stage.
No, like I said, I really think it's going to be about the guys I just mentioned. Are there deals that materialize for LaVine before the season, for Brandon Ingram before?
And both those guys fall into the category of help us help you. Right? If you need to rebuild your market if you're Zach LaVine, if you're Brandon Ingram, you need to rebuild your market so they can find a better spot for both those players.
Okay, so of course we saw Clay leave the Warriors. Do you feel like the Warriors need to make the move for Lauri Markkanen?
I mean, not at that cost.
No, but Steph Curry is 36 years old.
Right.
What they would be doing is mortgaging their future to pair him with Lauri Markkanen.
Yep.
Because it's going to take Brandon Podjemski. It's going to take all the picks, all the swaps. I don't think that's a deal that makes sense. And honestly, I think the Warriors have had a decent offseason considering the circumstances.
Yeah.
Klay Thompson was leaving. They've been able to bring in some quality rotation players. Are they a playoff team? I'm not sure about that in the Western Conference, but it's not like they're one move away from being a contender again.
So you said 0% chance that Lauri Markkanen signs on August 6th, which would mean he would be guaranteed to stay in Utah, correct?
Unless they trade him, which is a extremely slim possibility.
Right.
But yes, August 7th or later, he'll sign that extension. That's what I fully expect to happen.
All right, did you guys see this? 9-time Pro Bowl and 3-time All-Pro Julius Peppers was enshrined into the Pro Football Hall of Fame this weekend in Canton, Ohio. He was also a basketball player who walked on at
I remember
UNC.
this.
He credited a familiar face when being inducted this weekend.
I ain't gonna sit up here and act like my idol and one of the reasons that I went to Chapel Hill is not in the building. The GOAT, His Airness, Michael Jordan. MJ, I want to thank you for the inspiration and the memories. Love you, big bro.
So Jordan's influence obviously goes well beyond basketball. Tim, you tell me, is Jordan the most influential athlete
Oh, there it is.
ever?
I mean, I've got Jordans on right now.
Always have Jordans
I
on.
always have Jordans. Like, listen, you watch any sport, not just basketball. You watch the NFL, college football, Major League Baseball. You're going to see Jordan's likeness. You go over to Europe right now. You're going to see Chicago Bulls jerseys everywhere. Still, 30 some odd years later, that's how influential Michael Jordan is. So yes, absolutely, Michael Jordan is the most influential athlete of our time.
2008, I'm driving around Beijing. I got to go to the Olympics, and people would, the taxi drivers would say like, I would try to talk to them, right? They didn't speak a word of English,
right? And
I would say, I'm from Los Angeles, nothing. I'd say, Kobe Bryant, and they say, oh yeah, Kobe. What the answer is Kobe Bryant to this. I mean, everybody in the world knows Kobe Bryant. You drive around Los Angeles, you're gonna see billboards everywhere. Look, everyone's coming out wearing his jersey. He inspires in every single sport around the world. And I think, it's not even just athletes. This is Tony Finau in golf. He met with Alex Ovechkin in hockey. He knows Djokovic in tennis. But regular people driving around. Do you know how many people say, I got to Kobe up? That is a word now. And to me, it's not even. I know with the shoes, okay, that's materialistic. Kobe Bryant, what he is and who he was, that is he is the most inspirational and transcendent athlete of our time.
I feel like it could be 1A, 1B, right?
No, and I feel like Kobe was a successor of Jordan.
Yeah.
Kobe was a continuation of that trend.
Yeah, that makes sense. 1A, 1B.